Dave, perhaps you need to mute your computer. Dave, perhaps you need to mute your computer. Dave, perhaps you need to mute your computer. Okay, this is Ron, KD7QKU. Okay, this is Ron, KD7QKU. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we'll try again for Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Okay, this is Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma. I was talking on the ATV net, but I guess not, you can't hear me. Dave, I think you need to mute your computer because there's a lot of feedback. Well, anyway, okay. All right, KD7QKU here. Well, good evening all. Nice to see everybody. Nice to see Bert. Haven't seen Bert for a while. Nice to see Richard, that's for sure. I was just trying to think, what did I do? Well, you know, I've been interested in the Stillicum Lake. They used eminent domain and got this guy's house on the shoreline and destroyed it. And they were going to build a boat ramp and stuff. But I was over there a few weeks ago and there was no evidence of anything being built. They had, you know, sprayed grass seed on it and it was coming up. So I called the lady Saturday night, left a message, the lady in the Parks Department, Mary. And she called me back Tuesday morning, which is real nice, and said that they wouldn't be doing anything for quite a while. First it had to go through the planning stages, and she said that'd probably take the rest of this year. And then they did have money budgeted for it. Oh, I asked that question. She said, so they would start building it in 2026 probably, and it'd be completed by 2027. And I told her by then I'd probably be too old to drive and I couldn't take my boat over there if I wanted to. So then I looked into American Lake and I pretty much decided I'm going to buy a year's permit on American Lake. It's a little further, a little more difficult for me to get to, but not bad. They want $15 to launch a boat, and I just have, you know, a 12-foot aluminum anymore, and all I want to do is fish. I might only want to go over there for a couple hours, and it seems like 15 bucks is a lot to pay, especially if you wanted to go 2 or 3 times during the week. So if I buy a yearly permit, they're 150 bucks, and you can go and come as often as you want to. So if I paid $15 and went 10 times, I guess it would be equal. I don't know if I'll go 10 times or not, but I think I'm going to do it. I used to, you know, buy a permit for Mercer Island for that boat ramp in Lake Washington. It was about the same price. In fact, it might have been $165, I don't know, but I used it quite often, and it more than paid for itself. So it was so nice today. I went for a walk, and then when I came home, our house faces south, and so I opened the garage door and I have a folding chair there. In fact, I have a folding recliner there. But I just sat in the chair for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and soaked up some sunshine. Felt really good. So that's about it. TV looks really good tonight. Wade's got it working good. I texted him, he's at a scout meeting. He said he might join us a little bit later, so maybe he'll show up before the end of the night. Oh, let me let it drop. So after the last net, I had talked to Wade, and I told him I could barely hear him. I could hear him, but I couldn't hardly understand him. And so he said that he would mess with his microphone. Well, I think it was me, not him. So my hearing aids pretty much had quit. So I went and had them checked out, and they cleaned them and tuned them up, and I'm hearing things I haven't heard for a long time. So I'll probably hear you guys quite well tonight. I can hear the light switch click when it turns off. I haven't heard that forever. And when I clank a knife or a glass or something on the table, I hear it, and I haven't heard that for quite a while. So I guess they were slowly but surely diminishing in their hearing ability. So right now I hear more than almost one of them. So back to net KD7QKU.
could think of one possible scenario that
On the left, on the right, oh, on the left. We now have a very evolved system where we can have two receivers at the same time. Good evening, everyone. I think it's my first net after the new year, so it's still in time for a happy new year for everyone. And to go out from different lakes around here, which is quite convenient. And when I reach back to the dock, I will let them take care of the maintenance, and I just go home. So it's my favorite part of using a boat without having to do any of the other maintenance portions, which is pretty good. And I love the Illuminati from James. I think they call themselves Lumens, but I think I'm going to start calling them Luminati. I think that's a pretty good one. So I've been working with Wade on something that I can show you all, which is that we have the repeater with the two receivers. Oh, I need to. Interesting stuff on the way to get done. And as you can see, now we are using the 2 megahertz channel, and this allows us to have two people at the same time. And now that we have isolated the interference, it's kind of awesome to see the quality that we're able to get on continuous transmission without interference. That's right. So those are the news from Clydesdale of the moment, and back to Net Control Dave from 87NP.
I'll turn the repeater on here. Okay, well thank you very much, KD7QKU here. Yeah, so Bert, now we have a duplex repeater. Two people can get in at the same time. It's just like FaceTime. You can look at each other if you wanted to and talk. And we can talk over the TV. I don't know how to mute my camera, but I muted my TV so I can't hear it. I have interesting thing here on my Rainier Connect. I can get channel 4 down in California. I had it on. I have 2 TV sets in the TV room, so I can watch 2 at the same time. I had that Los Angeles, I guess it is, channel 4 on almost all day and watched their news coverage. It was pretty spectacular. You know, it's just terrible. Those poor people are being burned out. This one guy said, they interviewed him, he said he left last night and he didn't think he should even evacuate, so they didn't take anything with him. He just got in the car with his family, maybe their dog or something, and drove away. And then a little bit later he found out that the fire had reached their neighborhood, and then when he got there this morning there was nothing left. They didn't take anything with them. They lost everything. He had a trailer in the front yard, and he lost that and another car, and they had another house that I guess they rented in the backyard, and they lost it. And they lost all their pictures and all their personal effects. It was pretty sad. So let's see. Yeah, Bob, I did a little bit of exercise today. It must have been, what do you call it? Where you read the other person's mind, because I have a little barbell and I got it out and I actually worked with it a little bit, and then I have a thing you squeeze with your hand, and so I was squeezing that a little bit, and then I actually got so ambitious that I went for a walk. It was a beautiful day, so I've taken advantage of that. It sounds like rain's coming back on Friday. Oh, I put the Christmas tree in the storage shed. I didn't do anything spectacular. It's just whatever, so that's about it over here. It's always good to hear from everybody. Oh, they talking about that plane that crashed in Korea. Of course the wheels were up on it, but didn't they made a couple of circles before they landed, I think I heard, and they came in real fast. Does anybody know any more about that? Is that true? Did they come in faster than normal? Back to net, KD7QKU.
pictures. Probably the craziest one I saw was there were cars blocking the way because people were trying to get out, and then as the fire approached, they just got out of their cars and ran. So there were the roadways that the fire trucks were trying to get up were filled with cars. So they had this big bulldozer come in and just bulldoze the cars out of the way, and there was this beautiful, expensive Mercedes, and it just being bulldozed right out to the side of the road so they could get the fire trucks through. It was a bizarre scene. Lakes, yeah, for me it was Lake Sammamish. I think I've talked about this on the air before, I can't remember, but my parents had a little cabin on Lake Sammamish from going way back. In fact, my grandmother's brother, I think, first bought the property and a little cabin on there. And to give you an idea of how things have changed, this was just a little, I mean, it was a nice little thing, but it wasn't anything fancy. It was very basic. But at the time they put the cabin there in the late 30s, I think, it was, the cabin was worth as much as the land on lakefront property on Lake Sammamish. But they didn't want it because it was too far out. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, all the way to the east side of Lake Sammamish. It was like a day's trip to get out there, and they didn't want to have to deal with that. So they sold it to my grandmother and grandfather, and it got handed down, and my parents kept it and eventually sold it. There were 7 of us, so they couldn't actually pass it on to us. It would have been nice, but just wasn't in the cards. But we enjoyed it. When I was a kid, I was down there all the time, and it just had a great time during the summers there. Let's see, what else? The cooling ponds. I think I may have told this story too, sorry if I'm repeating, but it's one of my favorites. In Chicago, they use cooling ponds there for the huge data centers that they have in the basement of their buildings. And that keeps the water from freezing over, which all the other ponds freeze over in the winter. So all the ducks decide that's where or the geese rather, decide that's where they want to be. So they come around, and there's goose poop all over everything, the walkways and just all around. And so what one place I worked, their solution was they had a breeding pair of swans out on these were man-made ponds, of course, and there was a little man-made island in the middle of the pond, and that's where they had set up, built a little nest for them, and that's where they stayed all winter through the gestation period or whatever it is, but the geese would not come anywhere near the swans. I mean, as nasty as geese can be, swans are far worse. And the geese, you know, they hear about the pecking order. The geese were definitely below swans on the pecking order, and they stayed far away. So that was the purpose of having there, to keep the geese away. And it worked. The Canadian geese stayed far away, and it was pleasant out there. I mean, as pleasant as can be in Chicago in the winter. Let me break. A lot to say this time. I thought there was one more thing. The stupid trout. I have a stupid trout story as well. We used to go camping as a family, and my dad loved to fish, and so we would all go trout fishing. And we got to one lake, and I think it was while we were there, or maybe somebody told us, but they had just dumped a whole bunch of trout from the hatchery into the lake, and they would eat anything. All they knew is if something goes into the water, it's food, eat it. So they just would literally eat anything, and when we cleaned the fish, we found all kinds of just junk inside their intestines. It was pretty hilarious. Also, they were the easiest fish to catch ever. I've never had an easier time catching fish. Okay, I'll send it back. K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. And time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM for an ID. Well, let's go down south to Richard, K7ITX in Phoenix.
Wow, what a great fish story, Bob. That reminds me of when I was a teenager fishing in the Canadian Rockies about 120 miles north of Hope, BC, in some, the 150-mile House Lake or something like that. And, yeah, you just, the fish would it was just easy fishing. Let's see, and you said something else that caught my attention. It just went right through my mind. Anyway, Ron, as far as I know on the Korean air crash, so yeah, you're right, the landing gears were up, but the question is why, especially if they had time to circle around, which I believe they did. They changed their approach after the bird strike and circle around. But now the question is, why didn't you get your landing gears down? Another reason, or another question is airspeed. Why were you going so fast? Couldn't you slow it down before you touched down? And why did you touch down at the middle of the runway instead of the start of the runway, where you would have a better chance to slow down? So there's all good answers, but I think the answers are unknown. And it's anything further is speculation as far as I can tell, unless there's something out there that I haven't heard about. And Bird, what a bummer. Bert, what a bummer about New Year's, but I don't feel too sorry for you. I was in bed, and the fireworks woke me up. So, I mean, what can I say about that? I guess I'm just an old-timer now. I don't do stuff like that. A big day for me is going into outpatient rehab. How's that sound? I'm still doing that, and I'm getting stronger by the day, so I'm happy to go, even though it is kind of torturous. Stand by. So anyway, that's really all I had. I had one more comment for Bob. Bob had two great stories at the end. I caught the last one, but I can't remember the other one. I don't take notes. I'm in terrible shape. And hopefully we'll hear Don the next time he comes around, if he's got his, transmitter, the code. I can't think of what we call it. Yeah, there you go. All right. K7ITX, back to net control.
ITX, let's see if Wade is with us. W7ITL. No response on W7ITL. Let's go to N7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Jim, Social Security. There should be a way you could get to a prompt where they will ask you to enter your phone number, and they will call you back at their convenience. And their convenience, to me, has usually meant like maybe on the order of 2 hours. I think one time it was closer to an hour and a half. I think one time it was closer to 8 hours. So you'll probably be stuck around the house there until they get back with you. But
you shouldn't have to hang around on hold all that long. Maybe there's a different phone number for you to call. I'm not sure about that. Have to look into that. And Sage, thank you for mentioning that. I have heard about such things, vacuum tube computers. But when I was in engineering school in the early 70s, the tubes, that was like in the appendix of the textbooks. They weren't even teaching it well, not entirely, but they hit it very little. So, wow, that's pretty cool. I would have liked to have seen that sometime. Dave, trash bins, for heaven's sake. Good luck with that. That's all I can say about that. Bert, new roof, wow. And sick friend, Puerto Vallarta, dengue fever. Wow, I hope you're feeling okay. You sure look good. I hope there's not an incubation period that lasts more than a week. I don't know. Just curious if they ever figure out what it is, if you had mentioned to us on the net. Bob, geese are below swans in the pecking order. I did not know that. Thank you for mentioning that. That surprises me a little bit because I have seen some downright stubborn geese. Dick, yeah, going to rehab. I assume you'll be doing that for a while. I would say accept all that they will give you. I think that's good. I had some problems between 2016 and 2018, and I went to 70-some rehab sessions, and that's all the insurance would pay for. But that helped me out a lot in the end. And let's see, that accident in Korea, I don't know. What I saw is it looked like they attempted to land once. They hit some birds and went around. No one's really sure why they went around, but it looked like just as they got not even a stone's throw away from the airport, like they were still essentially in the pattern, they turned immediately back toward the airport and declared Mayday. So something happened. Don't know exactly what, but also the pictures I've seen. So it's not like they went around in circles. It looked to me like they did not have the ability to go in circles. They just initiated a go-around, and they immediately had to turn around and land in the opposite direction. Not exactly clear why, but the picture I saw, yeah, the gear was up, but they were not configured for landing. They did not have flaps extended. I saw no spoilers deployed, and it looked like the leading edge devices were not extended. It's almost like the hydraulics were not working, and I don't know, one possible so if they were landing configured like that, they would have to land at an unusually high speed. Just ballparking it, I would say approximately 50, approximately 50 knots faster than their normal approach speed to prevent stall before they got to the ground. And then, of course, when they got to the ground, the airplane would not decelerate because it didn't have all of those drag-producing devices extended. So they went sailing down the runway, and we never trained for that in training. I can say that. That's above and beyond what we normally do in training. So beyond that, they don't really know. Like I said, one possible explanation would be maybe if they had lost both engines, but we'll find out more as time goes by. It's really a little bit too early to say for sure what happened. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
Thanks for that. And it's time to sign off the net. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7SGR's repeater 147.08 with a tone of 103.5 for our voice transmissions for our nets for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society nets. So on behalf of Watt, this is Dave, KD7CYM, signing off the net at 9:02. Good evening all.